My fellow African brothers and sisters all over the world, here comes the voice of the voiceless, the oracle. I would like to talk to you today about the dirty games that the puppets and kings, the princes that have been put in place to govern our so much beautiful continent are playing. These are messengers of our colonial masters that have been crowned, put in place to destroy the potential that Africa has. If there is any African living today and death who do not yet know that Africa remains the greatest continent on earth, then they should rethink again and try to find out by themselves. We cannot justify the fact that we will trade gold for a piece of corn or silver. We cannot justify the fact that we have rulers who have for many years been ruling us and would want to make it like as if the country they rule is their personal properties. You see, diplomacy is a word that was coined out of slavery to further slavery, but in a different form. When they don suits in the corridors and parade the auditoriums and the conference rooms, actually what they show us on TV is not what is going behind the scenes. You know, it is uncalled for us to begin to think at this ancient time that Africa is still very way backward in terms of development and civilization, whereas civilization all started in Africa. You see, we have messengers of evil that have been crowned the ruling sons of our various lands by our Western and colonial masters. Before in slavery, it was that we were seized by force. But now we use our own money, sell our properties, go and buy tickets into slavery when we travel abroad. The way we are treated abroad is not the way that many of you back home may think. Life doesn't seem luxury. It's not all that glitters that is gold. When people come back home with flashy cars, driving big cars, spend a lot of money, nobody tells you what actually they did to get that money. We are going through hell. Some may accept and some may not. But when we lose our identity, then we do not yet know who we are. Most of us in the white man's land have been assimilated by their culture according to their style, so much so that when we come home, we look like foreigners to our own country. And so we are neither from Africa or we are neither from the Western land. They wouldn't accept us in their land as well as Africa doesn't accept us. That is kind of brainwash. They're brainwashing us to begin to hate ourselves. They're setting a battleground for confrontation, a battleground for enmity, a battleground for fighting, a battleground for hatred. You see, I don't understand. Why is it that the French will leave France and take their military equipment to Ivory Coast to oust a leader that was elected by the people? It doesn't seem right. Africans, we are still being treated today as we were treated 1,000 years ago. So, my dear brothers and sisters, wherever you are, it's time for you to learn your voices because little drops of water make an ocean. We can seize back Africa. We can take back Africa and make Africa the paradise that it is. And it is my firm belief that Africans, if we take back Africa and give to Africa the direction that it's needed, seize it from the hands of these stooges, from the hands of these despots, we are going to make Africa a heaven. And then the white man will come hustling in Africa. They'll come hustling in Africa because we've got everything. We've got everything. If you don't know, Africa is the richest continent in terms of mineral, richest in terms of manpower, richest in terms of intelligence. So when we put intelligence, we put manpower, and we put the mineral resources, those are all our riches. There is no continent today on earth that matches what Africa has. So my fellow brothers and sisters, there's one question that I want to ask. Before we talk about leaders who have been in power or in place for a very long time rigging elections, the question I want to ask is, how many of you do understand the importance of voting? How many of you do understand that you need to go and vote? And how many of you do really want change? Or how many of you do vote because the person you are voting for is your brother? So let us stop this politics of family, politics of the belly, and look at the general interest of our African society. A society where our children and our kids will no longer buy their tickets into slavery, but we will sit in our own homeland and enjoy what is ours. You see, there are some African leaders, even no matter how long they've stayed in power, like Paul Kagame of Rwanda. I give him credit for what he's doing today in Rwanda. African leaders, you need to stand up. You need to rise up to the task to protect what is Africa. Because we give gold on a platter, we give gold in a basket, and we get back silver in a plate. Enough is enough, my African people. Let's learn to tell our leaders that enough is enough by casting our votes, casting it rightly, and casting it enormously. Come out in your numbers to vote for change. Because if we do all come out in our numbers and vote for change, there can be no way those people will rig elections. So when we do not register to vote, and we have a country like Gabon that they say the turnout for election is maybe 55%, where has the 45% of eligible voters gone to? So if all this 45% of eligible voters came out, that change will be so loud and clear. It is time that we elect leaders like the heroes of Africa in Thomas Sankara and Nelson Mandela and all those kind of people, so that we should seize Africa and make Africa what really it is. So Mama Africa is sick and lying on its dying bed. You and me, by the vote we cast, have the possibility and the power to give her life back again. So think about it. Think about Africa if you love Africa. For I love Africa, and Africa remains the best, the blessed, the richest, most intelligent continent existing on earth. It is time for us to take leadership of the world. Join me, and together we would. Thank you.